Who is more important for a Titans victory over the Jags? Is it former Jags quarterback Josh Dobbs or former Yulee, Florida resident Derrick Henry? Zach, I'll send you to the chat to answer this question.
Yeah, let's see what the chat says. DeMario says Dobbs. Josh Dobbs from Steven. Tighten up says Dobbs. But Jamel says Henry for sure. Dobbs from Stephen King. Did I just say that? So he's even surprised by his own answer. Dobbs because Henry will be Henry. Well, we've seen Henry not necessarily be Henry with the fumble problem. So that's unique. And it's going to definitely take both of them, but that's why we're asking this question. Derrick Henry to get yards and not fumble, as Tress is alluding to. Rike T says Dobbs. Derrick Henry from Nick. Jonathan says Dobbs. Henry from Alex. Henry from Jared. Texas Titan says Henry. Nick says Henry. Here comes the string of Henrys. Billy says Henry. Mockingbird Lane says Dobbs, though. Noah and Deshaun Washington say Dobbs. Derrick Henry from Tim. Denise says Dobbs. And I'm going to skip over the both. We're not asking both. I mean, of course, both are going to – they're going to need both to play well to beat the Jags. Will Dotson says Henry from Henry. Henry Blaze says Henry. He is the franchise. Tighten up. J-Bay says Dobbs. So, I mean, I think it's semi-split. There's a couple of Henrys from Daddy Hot Drops. Brian says Henry from Brian, but Mr. Jones says Dobbs. So, look, a ton of comments coming in. Josh Brown says Henry, but Jacoby says Dobbs. Austin, what do you think? Is it Henry or is it Dobbs when it comes to who is more important for the Titans to beat the Jags and extend their season Saturday night?
Yeah, so I think we have to understand when we're talking about these two players, we obviously know that, in my opinion, Derrick Henry is a future Hall of Fame NFL player. Josh Dobbs is making his second career start after being in the league for now over 6 seasons. So I think we have to understand we're grading these guys and judging these guys on different scales. So, like, a good game for both are very different. A good game from Derrick Henry is well over 100 yards and scoring touchdowns. A good game from Josh Dobbs is probably in that 200-yard range and limiting turnovers. So I struggle with this, but I'm going to say Josh Dobbs. I think it's more important for the Titans to get more out of Dobbs than it is out of Henry, because to some level, there is that level of expectation of Derrick Henry that you have to know you're going to get walking into the stadium. And Josh Dobbs, I think, is the wild card here. Because if you look at the Titans' last 3 playoff losses, at Kansas City in the AFC title game, at home versus the Ravens after the 2020 season, and at home against the Bengals last year, Derrick Henry has been stopped. And when Derrick Henry gets stuffed in playoff games, and let's be honest, this is a playoff game. Like, this is a de facto playoff game because there is no tomorrow if you lose. That's what playoff games show you. And so if Derrick Henry gets stopped, the Titans have lost these last games do or die situations because of the quarterback position. So I don't think it's, and again, my answer of Dobbs doesn't mean Josh Dobbs has to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns scored. I think it's more about limiting mistakes. It's more important for Josh Dobbs to play clean and limit mistakes and just do enough to allow the Titans to stay around this game and to keep Derrick Henry as an option. Because, again, in the playoff losses, Derrick Henry has been removed from the game plan because the Titans get behind. And when they're behind too much and you can't use your best player, that's tough. And so that's where I think it's Josh Dobbs is more important to limit mistakes so Derrick Henry can stay involved longer.
So a couple of things. You called me crazy at the beginning of the season when I said this was going to be the matchup in Week 18 to decide, because you said that Derrick Henry against the Jags. What are you talking about? And you listed, and I remember this, you listed all of the games that Derrick Henry had against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you're eating a little crow now all the way 18 weeks later because you're singing a different tune from week 1 to week 18. Now, a lot has changed. Don't get me wrong, but this is a different statement. Do you remember that? Do you remember everything that I just said?
But Zach, circumstances have completely flipped up. Circumstances have completely flipped over.
But you were sitting here screaming about Derrick Henry versus the Jags. That was the reason why I was insane to say at the beginning of the season that this scenario would happen.
I was also expecting Ryan Tannehill to be the quarterback. I wasn't expecting Ryan Tannehill to miss 5 games or so this season and to be hobbled throughout the entire year. And also, let's remember this, Zach. Like, at one point this season, the Tennessee Titans were 7-3 and the Jags were 3-7. Like, this season and the last couple of months have completely flipped for both teams involved. The Jags were once 2-6, then they were 3-7. Now all of a sudden they've won 4 in a row and won a lot of games since then. The Titans were 7-3, looking at something special again, off their best offensive performance of the season in Green Bay, 27 points, a good running game, explosive passing game, scoring in the red zone. And ever since then, it's been a crap show. And so, like, an entire season has passed since that. Yeah, if you ask anybody in the month of June through August, who are the Titans going to rely on in a win-and-in game? Yeah, Derrick Henry is your answer in those months.
And that has not changed. That's the point. That's why my answer is Derrick Henry. And what you said was limit turnovers. Austin, who's had the most turnovers in the last several games?
Well, Derrick Henry, because he's been the most consistent.